Welcome, everyone. Okay, there are still folks coming. Oh, come on in. Welcome to the monthly meeting on this very wonderful occasion of not only Thanksgiving, but our beloved Master's birthday, November 26th. And while I was trying to book this hall, and it turned out that it is on 26th, I remembered that, oh, it is going to be Master's birthday. And it's around Thanksgiving, so we'll have 2 reasons to celebrate. And so I thought, okay, let's try to book this hall on this day. So thank you all for coming. And I know there was a little bit of hiccup in terms of timing of this meeting. And actually I was traveling, and then I tried to book the timing in YouTube, and because of time zone issues, I think it was earlier notified that it would start an hour or 2 hours earlier. I hope you guys did not wait too long. Welcome again, if you're joining me back again. Just wanted to give you a little bit of update on the progress on the meeting hall that we're building in Bruce. And so as I said last time, that we had just started work on it, and you would be able to see the progress happening on the camera that we have installed. And fortunately, we were able to, some of us in their building committee who were constantly watching the camera feed and trying to monitor if there was any progress being made, because the temperatures had dipped in Bruce, and we were worried that we would not be able to commence any progress this year. But fortunately, the contractors actually lined up everything, and we got early approval, and we were able to do some work. So if you had monitored over time, you would have seen contractors working, a bunch of people walking around the meeting hall, proposed meeting hall site. And we captured some video feed, which hopefully in future we'll be able to put everything together so that you can actually watch the progress of the meeting hall taking place in sort of fast-forward manner. So you'll be able to skip through various progress events. So we'll probably make a movie or something like that where you can see the progress happening, sort of compressed in a matter of maybe an hour or so. What might have, in physical time, it might have taken maybe a couple of years to make. We'll all compress it down into hopefully a couple of hours that you can leisurely watch. And when this place, Bruce, becomes big, then we'll be able to look at in a different light and see how the Moj that was unfolded way back by great master Huzur Maharaj Baba Sawan Singh Ji, my master Ishupuri's master, who forecasted, predicted that spirituality is going to shift in West in a big way from East. So that will come to fruition, and we'll be able to marvel how somebody could predict so accurately about the changes that would happen in the West. And it has been coming for a long time. Not only great master, but others masters have been forecasting, predicting for a long time, because they have seen, not only they have seen these kind of things happen whenever there's a peak that is hit, whenever they can tap into people's vibration and feel that they are discontent and they're looking for a change, then they can predict these things. And not only great master, but other masters, of various lineages have been sending their disciples to this country and other places like Europe and wherever the seekers are, and trying to help them. And so it seems like we're going to be hitting a big milestone by constructing this meeting hall, at least as far as Ishwaji's work is concerned. That has been going on for a long time since Ishwaji came here, but it will continue to happen, because it is his work. Ultimately, I'm just sitting here because he asked me to sit here and do this. So, if I had my way, I would not be here. There are a lot of other uh, uh, people who are much more competent in doing this work. They can do this much better than I can. But this is my feeble seva for my master, that I'm here, and I'll do as much as I can. And I'm no master. I'm not even a good disciple. I can confess right away that I have most of the time defied his orders directly, indirectly, and broken his command so many times and complained to him. And I don't believe that you have to strictly. Somehow I felt that in my heart that because I was a rebel. I never was under anybody's command. So similarly, even for me to respect a master so much that I under his command, it was a little challenging for me. But I know he has his own ways of straightening somebody. So maybe this is a way for me to get straightened by really living the example that he wanted all of us to be. And so this is my just a feeble attempt. This is a wonderful day because this week we have been celebrating Thanksgiving here in United States, and I look for some of these occasions when I had a full-time job that I would get a couple of days off and then go around with my family, celebrate. It's we of course I am from India, so I don't know too much about the culture that is involved in Thanksgiving. So I had to read up on what why this is celebrated. So over time, I think I'm as I was learning more and more, but at the same time, things like Black Friday sales and these things, always pull you in a different direction. This is so common to our life. These great people who come in our life, they give one kind of message, but the world is tugging us in completely different direction. So there is always tug war going on. But this gives us a wonderful opportunity to stay away from maybe work, take a break from work, and then meet some family, talk about good things or everything that is happening in our life. Think of what is really important in our life. And we are so fortunate that we had somebody who lived among us and truly represented what ideal life should be. And we can look up to his teaching and make an example in our life and give him thanks. So Thanksgiving is for expressing our thanks to people around us, friends and family, maybe government, whoever is affecting your life in positive way. Or sometimes it feels negative, but maybe in the long term we realize the value of this negativity that is encountering us in short term. But express our real heartfelt thank to people. And so we have, we express thanks to Creator, to God, not only just people, but we have been taught sometimes by our parents that get into habit, cultivate this habit of praying to your God. We may not really understand what God is. We don't know what Creator is. And all parents also may not know who really God is, Creator is, but we have been taught. So there is an aspect of our nature, human being, that believes that there is something. Do you want to open this? Somebody. There is an aspect in us that believes that there is a Creator. There's somebody who has a hand in our life. We cannot be just living without somebody creating us. Because if we see everything that is happening in and around us, everything is happening in time and space, and everything seems to have an origin. If we talk about this earth that came into being some 13, 14 billion years ago, or maybe 4 billion years ago, there was a big bang that happened that created this whole cosmos. And science has been looking for answer. Science has been looking for answer of who our creator is, how this physical universe came into being. And they have used modern devices, telescopes. They have figured out the speed at which light travels. And they have been looking at distant galaxies and the light that emanates from different galaxies. They can measure what kind of wavelength is emitted by different gases, oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen, helium, and so on, and how the light travels throughout the universe and how light sort of bends because of gravity. They're able to estimate with good accuracy as to how distant the light that is coming to us is, how long it has been traveling, because the light has been bending, and when it bends, it changes its frequency, and there is effects like Doppler effect. So through that, they are able to calculate how far away something is. It's like, when you see ambulance coming towards you, how the siren's pitch changes. So you can understand whether the ambulance is near you, or is it coming towards you or going away from you. So by looking at all these physical phenomena that is happening, we are curious as to how something came into existence. And some of the scientists believe that it just happens because of Big Bang, that time came into existence, time and space. What was there before that? It's very hard to imagine. If time started at Big Bang some 13, 14 years ago, and our mind cannot comprehend anything other than time, what was there before Big Bang? If that happened in a finite time, 14 billion years ago, there must have been something, say 15 billion years ago. We don't have a way to understand what was there, but we want to assume that, okay, whatever scientists are telling us with the physical proof, a good theoretical argument behind that, it is true. And everything is, because in our current life, we see that everything happens through certain laws of nature, and the law of cause and effect, there has to be, like Newton's various laws. If you are a scientist, or if you are an engineer, you are a student of science, you know that these laws can be applied in our day-to-day life. When you have a traffic accident, you know at what force the cars collided, or an object that is coming towards you is actually coming. So you can measure these things. So these are objectively also quantified. So there is no way to dismiss, there is no reason to dismiss what scientists are telling us through their very minute telescopes. Those are very precisely calculated, and so they can measure great distances through that. So there is no reason to sort of dismiss what is being told to us, because there is a lot of peer-reviewed material, and there is a lot of science behind all that. But at some point, it seems like the more you uncover about the reality, the mystery seems to deepen. Like you find out the limits of when the Big Bang happened, then it poses more questions. Similarly, when you look through microscope and look at living organisms, people always wonder what drives our life, what gives power to the animals or different insects that you see. And there are things that we can see with our bare eyes, but there are things that you cannot see that are still alive. You look at just still water somewhere in the pond, maybe just take a sample of that water, and then you look under the microscope, you'll see millions of life forms in that small piece of water. And so life is pervading everywhere. And so we ask ourselves, how is this life being sustained? Who is the creator for all this? Because we sometimes, because of our own issues going on in our life, we tend to ask these questions as to, why am I suffering? Why am I in this deep trouble? Not only it's physical trouble, sometimes it's very psychological. Sometimes you lose your loved ones, or you have argument with your loved ones. Sometimes you have great life, and things suddenly change in your life, and you find yourself in the midst of things that you cannot explain, how things can take such a significant turn. I know Ishwaji used to talk about people coming up to him and debating with him, why should I follow what you are suggesting? And he used to say that, no, you don't need to follow, your life is going pretty well. So you don't need to be here. And then within weeks, they would come back and they say that, things have completely changed in their life. So one wonders, when encountered with these difficulties in their life, one wonders, am I responsible for what is happening in my life? Because you cannot foresee what you have done. Let's say if you have an accident suddenly and your loved one passes away, are you to blame for that? Are you to blame for somebody else's mistake? How can you justify that you have done something wrong in this life to have this situation happen to you? So we try to attribute some of these things to some external entity that must be responsible. This whole world is operating, not only this world, there are so many, in our galaxies, so many stars are there, so many suns are there, so many planets are there, and they have been going around in harmony, or maybe sometimes disharmony as well, because people have been studying what has happened on this planet Earth, and there have been a lot of turbulences. And there was a time when we of course, in some of the maybe religious scriptures, we hear about the great flood that had happened, where Noah saved a lot of species in his boat. And surprisingly, this story is not unique to Noah. And a lot of civilizations that have been scattered all over the earth, they have narrated the similar stories. And there was somebody who came and saved them. And I was just recently watching a great documentary on Netflix by a person called Graham Hancock. He talked about apocalypses that has happened on this planet, and how it sort of changed the shape of this planet. And one of the basic theory was that we have been living as a primitive beings, let's say 5,000-6,000 years ago. And then over time, basically, we learned how to use different tools. And right now, at this age, we have learned a lot of science, and we have all different kind of instrument, and we can build, very tall buildings. And but the contention is some of the archaeologists believe that we are not at the pinnacle of technology. This technology has been around for a long time, and unfortunately, we don't have very hard evidences. But if you look at various monuments that civilizations have left, and when we look at these monuments like pyramids, large pyramids that have been built in Giza, and various other stone statues that have been found, people even now have a hard time understanding how these large monoliths could have been built, how these pyramids could have been built. Even with the modern tools that we have available today, it's very hard to envision how these could have been built. And carbon dating have been done on some of these things, and they found that these things existed some 10, 12,000 years back. So that implies that somehow the technology existed at that time. And so with our fanciful imagination, we try to imagine that maybe there was a creator at the time that sowed the seed for this civilization to happen. So we try to imagine these creators. We always try to separate ourselves from this creator, and so that's why probably one of the reasons is that whenever something good happens in our life, we try to thank this creator, which we envision is outside us, and that's and creator is the one that created everything that we see around us. And so yeah, this is a good way to thank somebody. Because whatever is happening in our life, we can't fully explain. It is good to thank another entity that might be responsible for that. So this way you are at least, have this humility to recognize that there could be something beyond you, and you are not responsible for everything that is happening. But that is not necessarily true for everyone, because when you become very educated, somehow you have this confidence in yourself that you are responsible for everything that is happening. That was true for me as well. I used to have this pride that, okay, I'm pretty educated, I'm engineer, and I could do whatever I wanted, with enough passion, with enough knowledge. By reading books, I could have everything. There is nothing that science cannot accomplish. And in fact, there are industries built upon this belief that with your sheer willpower you can do that. You can change life. You can create life. People have been experimenting with with creating robots and infusing life in them. But so I sort of read some of the articles that has been going on in the industry, because I have a computer background, and there are a lot of companies that are sort of experimenting with artificial intelligence. And so they believe that with artificial intelligence you can mimic life to a great degree, and there will come a time when through biology you will be able to infuse the life in them. That is to be seen, but if you were to believe the scientists, you'll be pretty convinced that, okay, they have a good foundation for believing how life can be infused. So maybe creator is quite far ahead in his experimentation, and he has figured out how to create life, and he has created all of us. That could be a good way of thinking. So a lot of these scientists have been trying to create a model of this human being, just a sort of skeleton, a robot that can walk, that can see things and recognize things. And that's how a lot of things happen, actually. There's a side effect of experimenting in these things, that a lot of conveniences come to us through these experimentation that happens on the cutting edge. In fact, it is believed that because of NASA's research, a lot of amenities that we see in our life, that happen. So there is maybe a good takeaway could be that, okay, not necessarily you can fulfill the ultimate goal of creating a human life in lab, but maybe there'll be a side benefit of getting amenities along the way, or getting discoveries that can help humankind. I mean, some of the companies that are trying to work on bipedal locomotion, a human-like figure that can recognize things around them. Maybe they can help you. If somebody is old and they need help with daily necessities, maybe you might have seen some robots that bring food to you. I was just at a restaurant recently, and as the human like waiters are serving, along with that there is a robot that is like a Roomba. They carry food, so any takeaway food that is ordered, somebody places the finished ordered food on them, and they know exactly where to go, and somebody at the other end unloads those foods that has been ordered online through Grubhub or Uber Eats or whatever. So this has been happening. So some of these innovations come to our life, but they are the fundamental discovery that fundamental research that they're doing is how to mimic this human life that we have. And a lot of people are also trying to supplement our human sense apparatus with electronic devices. And you can watch a lot of videos on Netflix and other places where science fiction is sort of taking us to believe or assume that there are external things that you can supplement this human life with that can take your experience to a different level. And but they have been recognizing that human being, our body, is such a complex thing that it's even mimicking even a 1% of that faculty, all of the faculties that human being has. It's extremely challenging. These human, some of the things that we take it for granted, like just simply walking, putting one step next to ahead of the other foot, is such a difficult motion that people have been researching for last 30-40 years, and they are not able to mimic how to have this motion. Forget about lifting a cup or doing a complicated motion. So people have been trying to sort of, in a way, create things. We also have this ambition in our mind that through our sheer will we can make things. You of course, with whatever faculties we have been given, we can take one object and transform it into another object. This is a way of creating. When the form changes substantially, it feels like you have come up with a completely new object, and so you can call yourself a creator. So we think of this creator that is separate from us because we don't know who is creating us. We know that, okay, our mother, father, parents have given birth to us, so they could be creator, you can argue. But then they have also been given birth from their own parents. And similarly, it goes on for eternity. So maybe a caveman somewhere, but there must be a creator for that caveman. How did this arrive? So similar to finding when the time started, when this whole creation happened after Big Bang, you seem to hit a limit beyond which you can't find an answer. You don't know what happened beyond the Big Bang. Similarly, when you try to reason out in a scientific way, because you can see cause and effect, you can see that your parents gave you birth, and their parents gave them birth, so they could be called a creator. But you hit upon a limit again, that you can go up to caveman, and maybe you can bank on certain theories that, okay, different species over time, morphed and adapted, and then human being came up on this planet. But people have been arguing about this for a long time, that how can, let's say if you see in as I was giving the example earlier, that you take a water from this pond and you'll see millions of these small creatures, floating in water, and they're not just randomly going about things. They are making a motion in a very deliberate way. They are trying to go in certain way, certain directions where the food is available. So it seems like there is an awareness to some degree. And look at that form and look at our form. It is so different that we want to believe, there must be a reason why we came in this body, and there must be some scientific explanation of how these small creatures over time, maybe billions of years, transformed into this form that we see. But again, you'll hit upon the same questions as to how these small insects in this pond came about. Who created them? So there must be some creator for that, and we don't find an explanation. So we go to different places. So at some point we abandon this scientific notion. If you are curious enough, if you are open enough about really questioning the basic assumptions that we have made, then some of the folks have actually done that, and maybe some of us, because of different reasons, not necessarily because of scientific curiosity, but because of various other reasons, because of things that we can't explain. Forget about what happened billions of years back, but what happened in our life we can't explain, and we are so hurt that we really want to find an answer. We can see that there are people who are billionaires, and us, we are having such a difficulty finding sustenance for maybe next month. We don't know how we are going to pay rent for next month, how we are going to survive. These kind of questions always plague us. So we start looking for answers. Sometimes some of these seeds have been embedded in us for a long time. We just don't know, because we can only look at our life, and we hardly remember all of our life. We just look at what happened. Maybe we remember exactly the breakfast that we ate today. If you try to ask me what happened a month back, what all did I eat? I can barely remember. I can barely remember what happened last week. So we can't look at our life in totality and come up with an answer of why things are happening with us. Sometimes these masters, like my master Ishwar, whom I believe all of you, or maybe barring few, have actually met in person. We have been so lucky to have close interaction with a master like him, who somehow came. I try to tell myself that the joke that Ishwarji used to tell about the parrots, if you remember, and when a parrot found the answers, he said, "Drop your beads, all our prayers have been answered." So seemed to me that I was also, and some of you have been hunting for these answers, maybe some consciously, some unconsciously, and when we found what he used to call himself a parrot, I don't think he was a parrot. He came amongst us, and when we recognized that, oh my God, this parrot knows everything. I told myself, drop your beads, drop all your books, drop whatever you are doing. You have found the answer. So was my situation, and so was situation for, I know so many of you, in our quest, we have been going to different places, because what we see, our search was always around us. We looked for places to go. We went to temple, we prayed different gods, we looked at books, sometimes scientific books for answers, how the species evolved over time, when time started, looked at latest scientific research, tried in the process of finding answers. Sometimes, just looking at the various books, Vedas or old scriptures that seem to understand, have a great explanation about what happened. Earlier I was talking about Noah's Ark. Similarly, this guy, Graham Hancock, he researched in various parts of the world and sort of came up with the theory that a lot of civilizations have ran into this situation where they talk about a great flood that has happened. So we try to explain answers in these ways. And when we find a person like Ishwarji who just pops up from nowhere, in maybe through YouTube or through some friend, telling you about this great guy, you can meet. I'm sure all of us have met through either YouTube or through some other, friends, references, and so on. And in my first 10 minutes of hearing his YouTube talk, I had to drop my beads, and say that, okay, I think I've found an answer. There is, you feel like you found a resting ground, where your physical search has ended. You need to research this person more, to find your answers, get in touch with him more and more. And so we have been, searching all over the place, temples, books, and so on. But when our desires become so overwhelming that we cannot but look for that answer, then and we look for presence of Creator. We look for all these answers sincerely, and not only just in books, but your thought is always on this. I know a lot of friends from here have made trips back to India, and they have stayed. Some of the friends I've talked to, I just I'm amazed by their experiences, that they're willing to drop everything in their life and stay in India for years together. They barely had any income, and they were willing to let go of everything. They some of the friends that I was talking to, they hopped on from island to island, took a ride with friends or some unknown folks, basically took on risk, and figured out how to navigate the world, even though they did not have the right kind of visa and all that. They took a lot of risk. So they're willing to go the distance. They don't care what what kind of cost they will have to pay in their life in order to get the answers. And so it's kudos to some of you that went to that degree and actually figured out. And when you talk to one of the things I do nowadays is talk about individual experiences, because on this path, we have come through so many different ways. We have followed different religions, we have read different books, had different teachers in the past, and then suddenly we are here, talking about this master that was amongst us. So I love hearing people's different experiences, because even though we have been crafted by different atmosphere, different environment, and completely different background, different ethnicity, and yet we believe in this thing, this magic that happened. Maybe our seeking grew to such a level that we are here in this place, and a lot of us have met this master over time, and so somehow it seems like, even though we may not be able to see the Creator, who is actually we don't know what the Creator's form is, because we believe that we are such feeble being that Creator must be somewhere up in the sky, in the heaven. A lot of us have picture of this bearded man who is looking after all of us, and somehow a lot of religions have also talked about different bearded men who seem to represent God. And in different ethnicity, different religions, they have representation of this God. So we all have this background, had this background, and some of us also, continue to have this background while also following, what Ishwarji had told us about how to discover who you truly are. And they told us that we are our own creator. But because we are limited in this body with this mind, where we are continuously looking for explanation of why it happened, everything has to reason out perfectly. Everything has to be in series, sort of cascading effect has to be there, leading it to our life. But we can't explain everything from the things that have happened in our life. We cannot really explain what is happening currently to me, to us, to our family members. So we look for other sort of explanation, and that's when people like Ishwarji and other great yogis and masters come amongst our life through different coincidences and try to tell us that you can find the answers, not by going to mosques, temples, reading books. They can only give you a guidance. They can tell you that these things are possible. You can find where the creator is. But really, in order to find the creator who lives amongst you, you just need to go inside. And what we are seeing around us is nothing but an illusion. We are all one, but we are experiencing different bodies. Because we have different bodies, it's very hard to imagine that we are one. But people who have had the ultimate knowledge, who have seen the creation, who are one with the creation, they know what is happening to us. They can see within us. They know us more than we know ourselves. We know ourselves only for this life, and probably a lot of part of our life, early childhood, we don't even remember what has happened. So, and we don't know that we have had existence not only in this life, but beyond this life. But these people who come amongst us try to help us because of our seeking. They tell us how we can truly know who we are, and they try to assure us, they try to give us practices through which we can truly get a sense of who we are, or lead us in a direction where we can find ourselves. And all of these yogis, in various ways, at different time in our life, it may not be the perfect living master like Master Ishwarji, but different masters at different period of time have come along in our life who have guided us. Before meeting Ishwarji, in my quest also, I also bumped into different masters and tried practicing various things, because in my search, I could only look outside and read books and familiarize myself with, okay, what will take me to the next level. If you remember, Ishwarji used to talk about an engineer in Burma, Trilok Chandra, who had great difficulty. He was a big seeker, and he amassed this wealth, $30,000, by saving each dollar. Whenever he needed to spend, he would not spend, and accumulated this money. And then met his first master in Chennai. It used to be called Madras in India, and so that was his first master. And then this master taught him few things, and he had a little bit of experiences, but eventually he was able to meet great master, and he was able to, who was a perfect living master, and through him he was able to truly understand his true self, who he is, and he had great experiences. So, and great master told him that the money that you have given to the previous master and all the exercises that you have done has not gone to waste. And he said that any effort spent towards the spiritual path is never wasted. So everything is counted. So I know we have come from different background. We are in this journey together, walking to the same place, Sachkhand together. And that's what Ishwarji used to say. And I believe he's amongst us. Those of you who have been able to manifest him, or have inkling sometimes that he's amongst us, are reassured that he is indeed amongst us. And in the past, I have relayed some coincidences that makes me a big believer that he is watching over us. I don't know. So I made some mistake today in setting the time for this talk on YouTube because I was traveling and time zone was different. So the earlier time I had put as 11 o'clock, and little birdie in my mind was telling me you're making a mistake, and people will tune in at different time, and so I somehow ignored that, and then people started pinging me. What time? Pinging means this is a technical term. Asking me through mail and other means as to what time the talk is. I told him, oh, it's at 1 o'clock. And I was thinking, why people are confused, because the timing is at ishanews.org at events page. Then I realized, oh my God, this little birdie was telling me that I'm making a mistake about the time. And exactly that's what happened. So some of these things happen in your life that sort of assure you. People tell me about things, that while traveling, they want Ishwarji to somehow assure them that they are in their midst. Some friends are talking, and they are talking about stories of Ishwarji, and they imagine, I wish Ishwarji would confirm that he is amidst us, by giving us a sign, and that would happen. That will confirm their belief that, okay, Ishwarji is indeed amongst us. So wherever we are having satsang, wherever we are talking about the truth, and the truth is amongst us, the truth is here because we are talking about the truth. And one of the meaning of satsang is we are talking about the truth, and there is only one truth, and that there's this consciousness. There is this power. There's this ocean of creation that is always existing, pervading everywhere. So we think that we are just a physical human being, but deep in our core, we have this essence of this totality of consciousness, the soul. Everybody, all of us, any living being has this soul, and we are part of that. So we can't recognize though, and these human beings come in our midst, and they say that you are not just this flesh that has only lived for now, in this life, but you have had existence even beyond this, and you can explain what is happening in your life by looking at what has happened in the past, but we don't have this ability to look at the past. We can only see this existence that we are living right now. They draw an analogy that this life that we are living is just like a dream. It's like, when you dream, you have some experiences, and when you wake up from the experiences, depending on how your dream was, you might be scared or you might be very happy, saying that, oh my God, I had such a lovely dream. Maybe you had a dream of Ishwarji, then you can relay that to your friends that, okay, I had this wonderful dream of Ishwarji. Sometimes the texture of the dream will tell you whether the dream was just made up by your mind, or is it possible that Master himself projected himself in your dream. Maybe if this is a dream, then ultimate creator who is sitting somewhere, maybe in Sachkhand, is actually, because we need his help. He's projecting himself. He's coming into our dream. And there's a saying in India that whenever a chela is ready, the guru appears amongst him. So they emphasize appear. So they, as if they manifest themselves wherever the seekers are. And you have to be seeker, right? Whatever your seeking is, based on that you'll get whatever you need. Not necessarily everybody is seeking this truth. Sometimes we are looking for maybe some kind of invention, right? Let's say, or if you want to have some wealth, because of your seeking, you maybe read business books, maybe you start your business, you take part in certain activities that fulfill whatever your wishes, whatever your seeking is, right? So, and if your seeking is towards spirituality, depending on your depth of seeking, at different point in time, you meet different masters. As I was saying earlier, before meeting Master Ishwarji, I had met other masters through which I got initiated. So I'm sure a lot of this is true for all of you. But we can only look at our current life. We don't know what we have done in the past life. Sometimes our masters come among us, and maybe they give us an inkling of who we are, who we were, and they tell us that they have been our friend in the past as well, and they assure by giving us initiation that they will hold our hand for a long time, till we reach our whatever destination we have in mind, and till we merge with him, and till we realize what the true nature of this creation is. So it could be our curiosity may be just understanding what this nature is about. If you have scientific bent, you want to understand, how come I'm experiencing these various objects that have been created, and a lot of nature is there, a lot of things are happening in the galaxy, universe. How is it possible that somebody could create all this? What kind of power it might be, right? Some of us have that technical bent. Some of us don't care about this. They just want to experience, happiness, and want to understand why is this world created like this? Why am I suffering? So it's masters grace help us understand a lot of these things, and if he has a lot of grace on you, as in one of his lectures he said, he gave a nod to one of the disciples and he had wonderful experiences. So his nod can take you and give you glimpses of this creation where you'll understand what the nature of this reality is. But in our common experiences also, we can realize that this experience that we're having is it can be treated a dream-like, because when you dream, you are never sure whether you are dreaming or not. In dream, if you were to ask a question whether I'm dreaming or not, who are you going to ask question? Who are you going to validate the reality in your dream with? You have to talk to somebody, right? You can't ask, well, if you have objects, if you're drinking coffee, you can touch the coffee mug, you can walk, right? But how will you differentiate that walk with your other walk, in a living, while you're living on this earth, right? So it's very hard to differentiate when you are living a particular life. That life is the only thing we are aware of. We don't know anything else, any existence. We don't know of other existences that is happening at the same time. We only know of the life forms that we can see or hear through the senses that have been given to us, what seems like in this body. We can only check whether there is a material object or not. We can talk to people, we can hear voices, we can smell. So different sense perceptions that have been given to our body seems to confirm what we are seeing. We can touch, we can smell, we can hear and confirm the objectivity that we are seeing, experiencing around us. But what is to say that these sense perceptions are not colluding with each other to give us the same reality? If somebody wanted to, when you watch a movie, not only there is a scene on the screen, but there is a music behind it. There are actors acting. Sometimes when we watch a movie, we get so engrossed, that if there is a scary scene, we really get afraid. So the director, actors, and producers, they have all been colluding, to give you this almost realistic movie, that you can truly enjoy. Sit back and you get scared, you feel happy, you shed tears, and different things happen. Similarly, who is to say that somebody has not conjured up all these things that we are seeing and colluding with each other to give us this reality that we experience ourselves? That's what masters have told us, that what we experience in our day-to-day life is made because we have these sense perceptions through which we can confirm the experiences that we are happening, that are happening in front of us. But if we really wanted to understand who we truly are, we have to throw the experiences, we have to ignore the experiences that we are experiencing right now at this living stage, in this life, in common day-to-day experiences. So they teach us a way to shed some of these experiences that we are commonly having and try to reach that uncommon experience, similar to the dream where you could be drinking coffee, tea, or having a scary thought. All these things can be experienced beyond our normal experiences. And they teach us a way, not only they give us theory about how this matrix or this physical universe is created, they give us an explanation of that, and they also tell us how to actually achieve it, through meditation. So, if I were to summarize everything in few sentences, I would say that at the core of us, we are all souls. We are all one soul experiencing different bodies. And we are experiencing this because we wanted to experience this. We wanted to experience this duality. We wanted to experience this richness of experience that a consciousness can have at any point in time. Consciousness is all powerful, and there is nothing but consciousness. There is no object. What we are experiencing right now is true for the time being. This is the truth right now, but this truth will change after some point. This is not eternal reality. There's an eternal reality beyond this, and that is the ocean of consciousness. That single soul that is there. There is nothing but that soul. There's nothing but that consciousness, that power that can do anything that it wants. It's just that we are captured in this body. We are so identified with this body. We are identified with the memories that we are carrying. We remember how our childhood was, how just an hour back, what happened. It seems like, we have been living through this because, of course, we experience all that has happened in our life. And we are tightly identified with that. So, it's, and that is the reason we are also suffering. If we had known, if we had the ability to see what happened in my past life and life before that, we would, of course, not be complaining about, what happened in our accident. Let's say if you had an accident, or if you could explain somehow, like Lord Krishna had told one of the kings as to why he was blind. This king, Dhritarashtra, was blind. He wanted to know, why am I blind? I did not cause blindness to anyone in this life. And so he was a little puzzled. So he asked his perfect living master, Krishna, who was his guru, and he said that I've gone into meditation. I've looked at my 100 lives, past life, and I could not see a reason why I'm blind in this life, because I did not cause blindness to anybody else. And his master, Krishna, Lord Krishna, he said, you go back another 4 lives and you'll see what you have done, and what your current life is the result of your past deeds. So, but we don't have any such faculty, we don't have any such ability, unless a master comes amongst us and teaches the way to see our life in a different way, to see what is beyond just the physical life that we experience in this body. And through their help, through their meditations, the technique of meditation, they help us see what we cannot normally perceive. Like, maybe some of you, have experienced what happened in your past life. Why is the reason that you are on this path? Some of you might have had glimpses of meeting Ishwarji or other masters in the past, because of your tendencies, inclination towards the spiritual path, you continue to follow this, And so these masters come amongst us in a systematic way. They try to guide us how to take our attention back to the source where it is coming from. So the concept is that we are constantly attached to things that we see outside. And there is nothing we can see, other than outside. All we know is outside. From the time we have been born, we have been going outside, for a long time, till I probably met Ishwarji, although I might have heard things like, go inside, it really did not make sense. Socrates has been saying, know thyself, and masters have been saying, go inside. But what does that mean? Go inside where? Inside temples, yes. Inside books. So we have been looking at different hints. But if a being comes amongst you who has done that, who is sitting at the place where the creation is happening. He's at all the places at the same time. He knows you more than you know yourself, and he's holding your hand and systematically guiding you, telling you how to see yourself in a different light, how to realize who you are, how to realize that you are just a drop of that ocean of consciousness, and we are all part of that ocean of consciousness. And so it's just a matter of time that he's going to come and take all of us with him, and he's not going to rest till he has merged all of us in him, and that is his assurances, right? So the best we can do is in this great day of his birthday anniversary, we can remember him. I remember he used to every birthday we used to send him mail and would get back a nice reply, and he would say that, okay, just if you really want to give me any gift, just meditate and offer your meditation to me for just a few minutes, 5 minutes. That will be a much better a gift to me than any object that I cannot carry with me. But if you offer something, that will always remain in our memory, right? So and he mentioned that in his mails, and because I used to tell him that I want to offer you my 5 minutes of meditation on this birthday, as a gift to you, and he would appreciate that. And I think I try to remember some of the there are so many things to remember about him. He used to say that the creator wants appreciation. That's all he cares about. Because he is creating because of Moj, because of playful need, because consciousness wants to express himself, and he is expressing himself in a beautiful way. But because we are captured in this body and we cannot see the totality, we cannot truly appreciate. But maybe by faking it somewhat, by still appreciating whatever is around us, appreciating the fact that he sacrificed his life to be here, to impart the knowledge that he received from his master, and gave us such wonderful friendship, wonderful time. And I can't think of anybody who contributed to this degree in my life, even though I have known him for 5-6 years only. But it has made so much of a difference, and I feel jealous. Some of you have known him for much longer, and who knows of much longer, not only in this life, but maybe even previous lives, who knows. So kudos to all of you. You have been on this path for much longer. I'm just a newbie in that sense, just trying to, with my feeble attempt, trying to serve him the best I can. And so, we need to remember his teaching, always, that we don't have to take this life and the sadness that it throws and all the happiness that it throws. He used to say, so what? Whenever you have any sadness, this is all a play at the end of the day. He would always remind that this is, after all, nothing is going to be here. This will disappear one day. He told me, I think it was 2019, April, after Bhandara, and he was telling me about his businesses, and he said, I'm not going to take any of these things with me. I'm already so old. One day I'm going to pass away. I'm going to leave all these things with you guys. And so he would, as he was getting old, he was reminding us of his temporariness. How the body is never there for eternity. All masters go away, and slowly he was injecting this thought that because all of us used to see him that he's getting old. He had different kind of surgeries, and how he was suddenly not in great shape, and we used to ask him question. Right, what is going to happen after you pass away? And in our thoughts also, we used to remember, we used to wonder, what's going to happen? We are like a child without parents, right? Imagine you are a small child and suddenly your parent goes away. You are in this wilderness. What will happen to you? So we all of us used to panic, and panicking even now probably, right? What's going to happen? But he has given us a path to go back, and ultimately everything is illusory. Mastery is also illusory. If this creation is a Maya illusion, then just a person who we are experiencing cannot be the truth. He is a truth manifest in a temporary form to lead us into the right direction where we ourselves can find the truth. And this is just a form that he takes. And masters have taken so many forms in the past. This is not the only master. His master was a true master as well. Paramsant Satguru, right? He also taught his master's teaching and tried to show the seekers how to find the truth yourself. And so the best we can do is remember the core teachings that we are a soul and we are experiencing this. And there is a way to find out the truth within ourselves without actually going outside. And for that, we should thank the contribution that everybody, all different teachers make in our life. Not only the masters, the final master, but this is a journey. So it took us a long time for us to get here, step by step, a lot of books. So it's a great occasion to, at any point, whenever these occasions happen, Thanksgiving or different Memorial Day or various things, we just don't lead life in isolation. There are so much contribution of various people that happens in our life, a society. It takes a village to raise a kid, right? So I mean, we have grown up so much. We have interacted with so many people, and what is important is not only things that we are going to leave behind. What is important is what will remain with us, and the truth that has been told by these masters is that our association with them, our friendship with them, is what is going to last much longer than the life that we are experiencing right now. So the memories, whatever we can cultivate right now in terms of meditational experiences by following his teachings, is going to remain with us. Anything else that we accumulate here right now, that is just for living this life, it's not going to live for long. So it teaches you a way to live life, how much importance to give to your normal human life, as like every animal, every being that lives on this earth, has to sustain itself, has to earn a living, and how to earn a moral living also is part of that, right? But not put too much importance into that, but also give sufficient amount of time for your next life, maybe, or life beyond this physical existence. And we have been blessed with this body because only in this body we can find the truth. Apparently, as told by all the masters, that in this human form, where the God himself lives, and God himself expresses fully. It is so surprising that out of billions of people, it is just maybe not even millions of people are true seekers. If you see how many people actually attended Ishaji's talk, on the largest Bhandara, probably 1,000 or so people attended. I feel that we have a long way to go in that sense. But it's an individual journey. It's an individual experiences that we have written for ourselves. So the best we can do is ourselves as an individual can find the truth for ourselves. And when we have found the truth, when you are full of bliss, you realize how you are in bliss, whereas other people, other souls are, dreaming and suffering. You will be compelled maybe to interject in their dream, like Ishwarji, and whoever he chooses to, as a creator, you'll be one with the creator. Then you'll know that this is again, it's a dream, and individually we have picked up different units of life to have different experiences. It's in a way amazing that creator himself chooses. In fact, there are sayings in different cultures that creator himself stepped down and came onto this planet, on this earth, to live amongst us, and we, although, because we are wearing different clothes, different skin, different cultural baggages, we fail to see that. We always discriminate ourselves because of our differences. We don't see commonality amongst us. We cannot see that we could be just dreaming, and our soul is essentially same. It's identical. There is no difference between two different souls. And because of the different costumes over time that we have put in, not only the costume of this body, mind, and different levels, but because of the conditioning that has happened, because of the maybe the religious background that we wear, religious costumes that we wear, because of the educational costumes that we wear. So we have put on so many masks on top of each other. Nowadays, it's about men versus women, So these costumes that we identify with, different jobs that we have, we identify so strongly about that. If you're a doctor or an engineer, that seems to come first, and you somehow, don't have enough respect for other kind of job, maybe nurses, teachers, and so on. So we have been differentiating ourselves because of the different costumes that have been wearing constantly. But we fail to see this as a drama that is going to end when our life ends. But it's going to unfold a different kind of drama. And only in this life, as a human being, we have opportunity to, because of maybe our past association with the masters, or having done some good deeds or maybe bad deeds, because as the masters used to say that we can have human form only when we have balance of positive and negative karmas, something good and something bad. And because of that, we have been given this human life. Otherwise, we could be, if you had done a lot of good things, you could be sitting in heaven, being an angel, or you could have done something bad, or then you could have been given a different life form, maybe animal or a tree. In fact, reminds me of Ishwarji's father's story, where Ishwarji narrated this story about his father, where he was apparently a tree, and a great master sat under that tree and used one of the twigs. He broke off the twig and used that as a toothbrush, and because of that, so the tree was born as a human being, and it was Ishwarji's father apparently, and Ishwarji himself narrated that story. So the soul can exist in so many forms. So when he was a tree, of course, he did not have that ability to interact with the master and get knowledge and get meditation, do meditation. But as a human being, he was given a chance to be close to the master, and through his master's blessing, he was able to reach spiritual knowledge. He was able to gain spiritual knowledge. So this life that we have been offered, and especially that we have been so close to the master, we have been able to attend his satsang, and so the best we can do is, wait for his grace. Give 5 minutes of our meditation every day, offer it to him, be thankful of his association, and surrender everything to him. And there's nothing more that is in our hand. If he has initiated us, our job is done. So we can drop our bead and then have a fun time. And need not worry. Have faith in him that he can do anything that he wants. If you have that strong faith, and master always emphasized that somehow, that meditation is for the mind. But what his master really taught him was to have faith, love and devotion in him. And the love is coming from your master, and you can nothing but devote to him. And so if you do that, and if you have given the keys to your life to him, just chill, just have a good time. Thank you so much for coming, taking time out on this holiday of Thanksgiving, and especially wonderful day of Ishwarji's birthday. Some of us hopefully can have pizza and remember his favorite food, and he has been part of our life, so we can never forget him. Thank you so much for coming.